right, everybody. Welcome, Coffee with a Killer. Glad to have you. It looks like we've got a good little crowd watching live. If you guys are watching live, just say hey in the chat. Love to see who's on here. If you're new to this show, apologies while I get this pulled up. If you guys are new to the show, what I do is I go through some of what has allowed me to succeed as an entrepreneur over the past decade. I've been doing this for a long time. I've been self-employed since I was 26, so well over a decade. And I've learned a lot. I've had a lot of good lessons. I've had a lot of really hard lessons. I've made a lot of money. I've lost a lot of money, like the whole thing. So I feel like I've got some stuff I could share with you. Hey, Amy, good to see you. Amy in the house. And I've got a topic I want to go over, and I just got to find it real quick. So here was the post. Poor people stay poor because they want everything to happen instantaneously. Okay, that's kind of the basis here. They often need a quick return or something to happen fast. Wealthy people are often slow, calculated, and they're thinking for decades. We need to break the cycle. So that's the entire basis of my post.
Bluetooth disconnected.
And there's a mindset that this has nothing to do with Nicholas. By the way, Nicholas, if you're watching, I hope this is encouraging to you. Nothing to do with that, but I want to explain the mindset that I've heard for a decade. Okay. So I talk about,
Bluetooth connected.
people on the lower end of the scale financially, people that are lower class, even people that are middle class. They need everything to happen quickly because they don't have a lot of money. This is the most common response I get, not just from Nicholas, but from people every year. He said, yeah, because poor people don't have the carry that rich people do. So right out the gate, well, the reason why rich people can think in decades, why they can do things slower, is because they have more carry, meaning they have more money. They have something that I don't have. And by golly, if I had what the rich person had, I would be rich as well. First and foremost, what we don't realize is that mindset is really dangerous. It's dangerous because it takes the responsibility off of us or off of the person that's poor and middle class. I'm going to get rid of the responsibility because I don't have what the rich person has. Okay. First of all, wealthy people take full responsibility, not just the wealthy people that I've met. I don't want to make this about me versus anybody or anything like that. The wealthy people I've met, they take full responsibility. So, right off the bat, we're trying to, if I had what they had, I would be where they're at. Very dangerous. You can't think in decades at minimum wage. You're trying to survive today. Now, the problem, guys, and I know some of you guys are already jumping ahead in your mind. The problem is that if you're thinking about today and you only think about today, you will always be where you've always been. I've said this 100 times. I know you guys are sick of it, but if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always had. I've been saying that. I think I heard Sean Wayland say that probably a decade ago. So I can't think, Jordan, I can't think in decades because I'm trying to survive today. I got to go to work. There's another sub comment on there. Well, I got to go to work, man. I can't think in decades. Bull, baloney, BS, horse malarkey. That mindset, and again, this is not specific to Nicholas. I don't even know this guy. But that mindset is what keeps people poor. It just like you got your blinders on. And this problem, I won't even do that. This problem is so close. This financial problem is so close that it's all I can see. Versus removing that and saying, man, I want to start thinking in decades. This is why a lot of poor and middle class people get scammed. So they hear about an opportunity and they're like, oh my gosh, like I could make 1,000,000% this month. I want that. That would change my life. That would change my financial circumstances. That would change my financial situation. Complete opposite of what wealthy people are looking for. They're looking for safe, secure, and they're thinking in decades. Same page, everybody? So this mindset is dangerous. This mindset takes all the responsibility off of the person and it puts it on, well, if I just had what they had, so I'm not responsible because if I just had what they had, I would be successful like they did. No, how do you think they got successful? It wasn't doing some 1,000% a year Ponzi scheme. They were thinking in decades. So it's a complete contradiction, and it's blatant. Is BS. Is BS. So now what I want to do is I want to be darn realistic because I think this is going to help people. Everybody still with me? Mike's on, Amy's on. You guys still with me? Same page. So I want to go back, and it's been a while, and I think it's easy to forget. So I want to go back to when I first started. I had just left my job. It was a good job. I was kind of climbing the corporate ladder. I was making good money. Right. I left to pursue being an entrepreneur. I did not have a lot of money saved up. I wasn't walking into my entrepreneurial journey with 10 grand. I think I had maybe $1,000. I don't know. And so I want you guys to look at this through that lens of, well, where did I start? The guys that I know, where did they start? So I started with maybe $1,000 and I quit my job. That is something very rare because, again, to this guy's point, you can't think in decades when you're making minimum wage. You're trying to survive today. Again, not my experience. I went all in and I didn't have this massive nest egg. I actually borrowed $3,000 from my girlfriend. I married the girl, but at the point, she was my girlfriend. I borrowed $3,000 from my girlfriend to pay for a mentor. Okay. Now, I didn't have the money, but I had the vision. I had the dream. I had the belief in myself that I know that worst case scenario, if I completely mess this up, I can go get another job. You know, somebody will hire me. You can't find good help. Well, I can be good help. So I knew that worst case scenario is I could go get another job. And I had belief in myself. I had just read Rich Dad Poor Dad. I had just kind of had this epiphany, like the veil had been lifted from my eyes. Okay. Now, maybe you guys don't know somebody that you can borrow $3,000 from. That was just an example. But I want to talk about how hard it was for me. I had started, like when I quit my job, I started in real estate. Now, I just told you guys I didn't have enough money to even hire the mentor. I had maybe $1,000, and I had rent coming up, which was $900. So let's just say I had $100. I remember very vividly realizing that if I didn't get creative very fast, I was going to be looking for another job. I was going to be updating my resume. So I've got $100. I'm trying to do real estate. I don't have any money to buy real estate. And I'm in this situation where I believe in myself. I believe that I can accomplish what I want to accomplish. Okay? So here's the reality. It took me 5 or 6 months to do my first deal in real estate. So that was 5 to 6 months where I didn't have any income coming in, about $100 because I borrowed $3,000 from Julia, my girlfriend at the time. So this whole notion of, man, I'm basically living paycheck to paycheck. I can't think about the future because I can only focus on what's right in front of me today. It's bullshit. It's a lie because I didn't have any of that. Guys, you could walk down the street, and I've shared this 100 times. You can walk down the street right now, and you can go out and make a couple $100. Every single one of you watching this call, every single one of you guys watching the replay, you could do that. You could, guys, you can go mow a yard. You can paint a fence. You can detail a car. I picked up dog poop. That's why I very vividly remember this, and I remember thinking, one of these days I'm gonna look back on this and I'm gonna think it's kind of funny. It's like 80 degrees outside. I'm, sweating. I'm picking up poop to get money to pursue my dream. What I don't see, and maybe this makes me seem like a kind of an a-hole. I don't see a lot of people like Nicholas saying, I'll do whatever it takes. What I don't see a lot of these people saying is, I don't have the same carry that rich people have. You can't think in decades at minimum wage. What I don't see is, Jordan, I'll do whatever it takes. Because that's the mentality that I had. I don't want to be a failure. I kind of like this girl that I just borrowed money from. I don't want to lose her money, her $3,000. I'm going to do whatever it takes. So I picked up dog poop. I painted. I did things to survive while I was learning and growing my skill set to eventually do my first real estate deal. I didn't make a lot, but then I did another deal and another deal and another deal and another deal. You guys following me here? This mindset will kill you. This mindset will keep you poor. The mindset of, yeah, I don't have a lot of money. I didn't. I don't have a lot of money, but I believe in myself and I believe in something better than just working day to day and just focusing on, I can't think about the future. I said, doggone it, I will do whatever it takes. Now, I didn't have kids at the time. I didn't have a spouse at the time. So I want to now put this into that perspective because some of you guys watching this are older than me. And some of you guys are saying, well, dude, I do have kids. I do have a mortgage. I do have a spouse. Cool. What changes then? I would say you have more of an obligation. When it was just me, yeah, sure, whatever. But let's say you have kids and you have a wife and you have a mortgage and like, Jordan, I can't just quit like you quit. I didn't have a nest egg, guys. I didn't have that. I'm telling you, and I believe this with 100% certainty, if you wanted to, and if you humbled yourself, you could create the money. When I talk to people, again, this is not about Nicholas. I've talked to probably 1,000 people that have said this exact same thing to me. When I talk to these people, it's almost never, I'll do whatever it takes. And almost all of them have a high level of pride. You can't be broke and have a high level of pride at the same time. There's something that needs to happen where you humble yourself, like I had to do whatever it took. Dude, I'm the regional manager at X, Y, and Z company. I'm not gonna go paint a fence. I'm not gonna go detail a car. I'm not gonna pick up dog poop like you, Jordan. That was cool for you, but I'm not gonna do that. Cool, man. You're 45 years old and you're still not in a better financial situation than you were when you were 20. 25 years have gone by and you're not in a better spot. What has to change? What has to break inside of you? Yeah, well, it was easier for you because you didn't have a wife and kids. What does that matter? What you're basically saying is I didn't have responsibility and you have responsibility. Nah, hombre, you have a responsibility to your wife and your kids to take care of them financially, to put them in a better spot. Your ceiling should be their floor. That's how it's supposed to work. I've got kids of my own now. The girl that gave me $3,000, I married her. Does anybody know the rest of this story with my wife? I'm just curious, real quick. Let me know in the chat. Does anybody know the rest of the story? That girl that gave me the $3,000, I retired her when she was about 26 years old. She had to retire. That was me paying her back the $3,000 for believing in me, and giving me the money that I needed to get started. So I won't give away her age, but it's been a decade. She has not had to work. You guys following this? Like, is this resonating with anybody? You can't be broke and have like this. You can't have all this pride if you're broke. Something has to give. And if you don't have a lot of money, I get it, because I didn't have a lot of money, but I had to humble myself. And if you want to really get after this thing, you need to humble yourself. You can't be prideful and broke. Something has to give. Now, furthermore, the last decade plus that I've been doing this has not been easy. Not even a little bit. Not even close. It's been hard. I've had to make hard decisions. I've had a lot of sleepless nights. I'm going gray a little bit. But I wouldn't change it for the world, because I look at people, and I don't mean this offensively. Please don't take this offensively. I look at people that are my age. I'm 38. My age or older, 48, 58, 68, 78. And they're not where they want to be. And I look at, man, like, I've got some stuff in my life that is a little bit stressful. But I haven't had to clock in a decade plus. My kids, I haven't had to miss a swim lesson or whatever. This mindset is poison. Yeah, because poor people don't have the carry that rich people do. Poison. Rich or poor people can't think in decades at minimum wage. Let's stop right there. Whose choice is it to work at minimum wage? Yours or someone else's choice? It's your choice. Whose choice is it to learn a skill set? You can do it for free, by the way. We got Google, we got AI, we got YouTube, free. Whose choice is that? Your choice. If you work minimum wage, you chose to do that. You applied for the job. You've chosen to stay there. There's no victimhood here. You own your choices. I own my choices. So first and foremost, it's your choice to be minimum wage. Yeah, well, I didn't go to college. Whoop-de-doo, man. Whoop-de-doo. Yeah, well, I didn't have rich parents. I wasn't given a massive sum. I wasn't given any money. Yeah, well, I live in the middle of nowhere. Dude, I lived in a town of like less than 2,000 people in Montana. Doesn't get much middle of nowhere than that. I had a desire to change my future. I had a desire to take care of people that I care about. I had a desire to get out and to break some generational curses. To me, that was worth going all in. You can't have it both ways. You can't say, yeah, but rich people, they have more carry and they can think in decades, but I can't. You can't be a victim and get financially free. You can't have pride and get financially free. You can't have all of these luxuries, man. Like, there's a lot of people that are poor, minimum wage, that drive some real nice cars and have the latest and greatest cell phone, that are fully caught up on every episode of Game of Thrones. You don't work 24/7, even at minimum wage. You don't work 24/7. You have the choice, you have the ability to change your life if you want to. Jordan, I just can't afford it. Show me your bank statement. No one's ever done this, by the way. Jordan, I literally can't afford it. Could I look at your bank statement and just verify that? No one's ever done that. Start going through it. Dude, we got $49 to DoorDash. We got Netflix. We have Hulu. We've got X, Y, and Z, 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 X, Y, and Z. You have more discretionary spending than I do. Rant over. This mindset is poison. This mindset, you're not going to get financially free. That's all I got. If you guys are in my community, I'm going to be live here in about 40 minutes. I will give you guys a Zoom link for that in the chat. If you guys are new subscribers or if you're new to this show and this seems like a little bit intense, I didn't say anything that wasn't true. So keep that in mind, guys. Much love. Catch you guys later.